Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today getting ready to talk about Sophie stuff, okay? And the one thing that has been on my mind is this April 8th solar eclipse, okay? For a lot of you who already know what eclipses do, they actually serve like portals, okay? I still want you to put the mindset into Jacob's ladder, where souls ascend and souls are descending. But this one is going to be a little bit different, okay? It's still going to be the same as the Jacob's ladder, but I need you to understand that during a certain amount of time, the darkness is going to shadow the light, okay? Now, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? If you have been called to, I would get spiritually prepared for this, because many of you are going to go into a higher integration, if not full integration, during this time. And that is going to be the union between the higher self and the lower self, okay? So you want to pay attention to people's personality types during this time. You want to pay attention to their personality changes during this time, okay? For those of you who have already been operating into your light, be prepared to observe it more, okay? For those who have been operating in their darkness, be prepared to witness it more. All right? Okay. There are going to be definite personality changes during this time, and you have to pay attention and watch it all play out. A lot of exposures as well, because the symbology of it is the light has already been shining all of this time, right? But now we have a moon that's going to put an overcast over it, and it's going to have it in a little bit of darkness, okay, for a short amount of time. And this is the overshadowing of the negative aspects of your personality might start to amplify at that time, especially for those who are going into full integration. This might be during the time that you're going to rid all of that, okay? All of the things that has been holding you back, you know, all of the healing, you know, that has not been done, all of the trauma, all of the things that we have laid suppressed in our personalities, you know, in the subconscious mind, you may start to release those things, okay? So if it becomes emotional for you during this time, go ahead and cry it out. Go ahead and cry it out. Nothing releases like tears, okay? Because tears are very sincere. Tears are very authentic, all right? So if you find yourself going through that or finding it have emotional changes at that time, go ahead and release it. Because once the shadow moves and the light comes back, boom, all right? You're going to go through that process of change, okay? You're going to go through that process of deep reflection. But it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows, right? Because at the exact same time, you're going to see the negative become extremely negative, okay? Their personality is going to reveal that which has been masked all of this time. So many of us think that we're partnering with light warriors and lovers and things of that nature that are very similar to us. But as we're building up to that, pay attention even with the momentum. Okay. Now, the personality changes, they may start off a little subtle. Okay. It might be accompanied by mood swings, you know, back and forth, instability, double-mindedness, things of that nature. When you start to notice these things in people that you may know, people that you may have loved, people that you may have been even, you know, journeying with, when you start to notice these personality changes, it is important for you at that time to draw your energy back and observe it. Okay, don't engage it, because when we're talking about, you know, doing the splits or the separation of the wheats and the tares, this solar eclipse is going to help you discern. All right, a lot of you may have been dealing with people that you find questionable. You can't really pinpoint what it is about that individual or that situation, but you know it's something, right? And you can't prove it. But when we're talking about this eclipse coming in with full disclosure, you're going to be able to see and identify what you always thought or intuitively, you know, may have felt about somebody, okay? If you were on shaky grounds in your relationships or in your friendships or in your businesses, this will be the time that you will obtain clarity. All right. Now, many of you prepare for new moons and eclipses differently. I would just simply suggest to go into a meditation. Okay, I would simply suggest, even if you're called to purify the body, if you're called to any type of fast or anything like that, go ahead for it. Okay, because I actually created a calendar of each day of the week leading up to the 8th of the things that I'm going to be focusing on. And this is going to keep me on track because, I'm all over the place, okay? I'm the road runner, beep, beep. You know what I mean? So this is going to keep me on track, right? But every day, starting from April the 2nd up until April the 8th, each day of that week is going to be a different focus for me, okay? If it's either my health, if it's mental clarity, if it's discernment, if it's dealing with relationships, if it's dealing with finances, if it's dealing with all of those, I am going to be focusing on a different thing, okay? If it's just water for the entire day, or maybe for that entire day, it's nothing but fruit juices, But I've already laid it out, on what the things are that I need to be focusing on to help take care of me, and I would suggest that you do that too. A lot of us take care of so many different people. You have so many different people that you love, that you want to see healed, especially if you're one of the ones that actually went through it already, right? So when we go through our trauma, we go through our drama as well, trauma and drama, that's why they rhyme. They relate to one another on a scale that you would probably never imagine. But when we are going through this and we've been through it, okay, then people, who are seeing you in your light and who you are, they gravitate to you because they want to know how you did it. And we do this thing called each one teach one. So when you have experience in things, it's very easy for you to get distracted and want to talk and help this person and want to talk and help that person and pour out and pour out and pour out and pour out and pour out. What I'm telling you to do, during this thing, I can't tell you anything. Sorry. What I would suggest that you do, during this time is make these days up into this eclipse about you. Okay? The things that you have noticed on your journey, the things that you realize you may have not completely healed about, okay? The patterns that you have noticed with yourself and your relationships to other individuals, even if it's in business, if it's in finance, if it's holistic, whatever it is, okay? This time needs to be about you. All right, because as this start to happen, okay, as we start to have portals that will take place, look at it or think of it like a dark hole or a black hole, right? Where things can enter in and things can come out, right? So now when you're seeing all of this, understand that your highest self is part of that integration, okay? It's part of letting it come right on through into you, okay? Full integration is not going to be easy. And we know this because partial integration wasn't even easy. And for those of you who have went through that awakening process, you know that it can get really hairy really quick. All right? But just as the light will magnify, so will the darkness. All right? So be on your P's and Q's and know when it's time to cut things off. Know when it's time to release situation. Everybody's not going to go with you. And everybody can't grow with you. Okay? And I know you love them. I know you do. Because I do too. I never really got to the point where I understood how to love my enemies until I was put in positions where I was able to see the issues with the enemies. All right? So sometimes, you have enemies that project onto you, and it really has nothing to do with you, okay? But you will be the target of their wrath. And the reason why you're the target of their wrath is because you are simply reminding them of where they could be if they would take the time out to do the work. All right? So when we're loving our enemies, we're not saying, okay, you know what, walk all over me, do what you want. Oh, then I'm still going to help you. No. When we're loving our enemies, we are empathetic and we're identifying with the pain that they're going through that is causing the reckless behavior. And not just understanding that, these are just people that are just acting crazy or, being combative and things like that to you. you will have the insight, the clarity, and the understanding of why people do the things that they do. Therefore, your anger and your wrath will now turn to empathy. Okay? Your disappointments now come to empathy because you know that that person went through a lot. All right? And unfortunately, because you are the one that's representing the healing version of themselves that they themselves don't think that they can get to, then it's easy for them to project onto you and think that you're faking. And you're not faking. Okay? You're just simply being your authentic self. So when you're loving your enemies, what you're saying to the divine is, I'm not even angry with this person. I'm not angry with this person. Okay? This person is going through what they're going through until they get out of it. This person has to evolve. This person has to go to the root of the issue that is causing this behavior, and it has nothing to do with me. So during this time, all we're going to do is work on us. Okay? If you have allowed projections to infiltrate you, if you have allowed, other people's issues to turn you stony, cold, a little sharp, even possible with the tongue, because I can get like that. Yeah, I can get like that, right? Because we get to a point where we're just tired of foolishness, We're living by the rule of live and let live. I can guide you to higher states of consciousness, but ultimately, it's up to the individual who wants to achieve it. And if they don't believe it, they will never achieve it. So you have to leave them where they are. Keep them where they're standing. Okay? But up until this point, realize that this is getting ready to implement a major shift of consciousness. Okay? A major change around you. So you must be vigilant and understanding the company that you keep. If they were toxic, be prepared for toxicity times 10. If they were loving, be prepared for loving times 10. Okay? Be prepared for bringing in your soul tribe, those with like minds, those that are on this mission with you. Be prepared for that. And up until then, prepare yourself, mind, body, and soul, however you're led to do it. Okay? We're all different, right? So we all have different areas that we can all improve on, Nobody's out here ever going to be really perfect because you can't be perfect with an evolving universe. I mean, how could you ever get to that point? All right? You can be perfect in your generation, as they stated in, the Bible. Now, but what does it mean to be perfect in your generation? Okay, so each generation is going to build upon another generation, right? So each level of knowledge is going to increase, okay? Because we're all going through that spiritual evolution, that conscious evolution as well, right? So during a dispensation of time where there was, say, a level that was here, that's all we had to do, right, was say live by the golden rule. Despite what it is that you were doing in your life up until that point, which was imperfect, if you still understood the concept and the principle of that generation and could walk in it, okay, then you would be considered perfect, even though it's not perfection. Do you understand? Okay, so let's see if we can get a better example for this, okay? You're a teacher, right? And you have students, right? And you tell these students, okay, before we walk out into the hallway, I need you to line up in size order, right? And say they're all over the place. They're arguing, oh, well, I'm a little bit taller, my shoulders a little bit taller, my head, you got hats and things like that, right? But say there's the first couple of groups absolutely got it right, all right? They got the line perfect. But while they're in the line, they're not quiet. Now, you may have said, line up to get ready to leave, okay? But as they're lining up, they're doing that perfectly. So they got the assignment, but there's a whole bunch of chattering going, okay? Are you going to fail them for that? No, because it wasn't specified at the time. So certain things that you will do, can cause you to be perfect in your generation simply because you have mastered or understood the principle of that time. What it was designed to do, okay? You have mastered the principle of that season. what it was designed to do. Sorry. But you may go about it differently than the way somebody else goes about it. And you still will be seen as perfect in your generations. But that's not the same as to say perfection all the way around. You have understood and mastered the concept. Therefore, you become that into the perfecting of your soul when you stop repeating patterns. All right. So this solar eclipse is going to help you identify those patterns and break the cycles altogether. All right. Especially if you're a light worker or warrior, you're going to start to identify the patterns of your life so you can completely break the cycles. All right. And then you too, once you have mastered the principle of this age, all right, what was this age designed to do? What was it designed to teach you about yourself, about your friends and families, and about the whole world, right? When you're taking a higher vantage point, you're looking at the whole earth as a whole. What are you learning? What have you seen? What have you witnessed? Okay? And now that you have identified it, now that you have completely closed out these cycles, you can enter into your new season. It's going to be very difficult to enter into a new season or a new cycle without completely closing out the old. You will always get confusion during that time. So even during these days, working your way up to this eclipse, make sure that you're closing out old cycles completely. Okay? Don't hold on to it out of fear because you think, oh, well, what happens if I need this person? Or what happened if I'm wrong? Or what happened if this is the wrong move? You cannot operate out of a spirit of fear and expect it to be successful. So when it's time to make the leap, go ahead and make the leap. When it's time to do the journey, go ahead and take the journey. Okay? When it's time for you to release something, release it completely. Don't release it with a little bit of hope in the background, all right? Because that will do nothing but open up and keep a door of opportunity open so that you can go back and repeat a pattern. That there will stunt your growth like nobody else's business, all right? So we do not need stunted growth. But what we do need is our complete integrations. And just because we have our complete integration don't mean that you're going to automatically walking around here like Storm and, like, Jean Grey and Wolverine and Cyclops and all of that. Your complete integration is your spiritual integration, okay? It's still going to take time to start manifesting it in the flesh, all right? It always comes first, all right? Spiritual things always comes first before the physical manifestations, okay? So it's never just like that, all right? Remember, before we operate in anything comes the realm of thought. So we always have to perfect our realm of thought and our minds before we're able to operate in the fullness of what we are supposed to be. Soak up all the sun that you need to, all right, before it is casted, all right? Because once it is casted, sit back and observe and watch those around you really show you who they are. All right? I am Sophie. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I gotta get ready to get going. Love you all. Bye-bye.